Welcome to Dream Rides again here at the Bike Specialist with James. That, if you don't know what that is a Yamaha R7, and it has to be one of the prettiest bikes ever.
Absolutely beautiful. I mean, look at the front end on the bike with the teardrop lights. It's not aggressive though, is it?
Oh, it's just gorgeous.
It's just beautifully designed. It really is. I like how the decals go from red right into white, just fades across, and it's just stunning.
It is stunning, and this for me is like catnip for anyone who's into world superbikes in the late 90s, early 2000s. A proper homologation special. Obviously, Yamaha had the OW-01 first, the YZF-R750R.
And this is actually the rarest of the YZFs.
Absolutely.
I mean, to have one in front of us is like unheard of, really, and to see one on the roads is a definite never.
No.
So yeah, it's the rarest of the YZFs.
The R1 came out in 97-ish, 98, and made a massive stir.
Like
the R6 was out at the same time, and that was, amazing super sport bike. And then the R7 was like technically slower than an R1, but this beautiful, exquisite race homologation special. And again, not just any old racing. Obviously, it was designed to win world superbikes, but again, endurance racing. So
did really well at Suzuka. Won it
really well.
Suzuka, yeah. Not to mention that incredible fuel tank.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
How many litres?
Go on.
Yes, got it. 21 litres. And in the boring engineering details, like when you look up close, like the fun thing I've spotted here, you get, again, you can't see it from that side, but the forks have got like a quick release plate on the end of them, designed for making a quick release endurance racing front wheel spindle for quick wheel changes. The tank has got a big flat top with two fuel caps. One of them's a blanking plate and one of them's a cap. Again, so you can put the quick fill Suzuka style.
I tried that earlier. We didn't.
Yeah, it's not very quick as standard.
Not very quick. You won't want me fueling for you, would you?
No. You're sacked. You're sacked. But honestly, like all those little bits, the fact that it's got the quarter turn D-ring fasteners, all those little bits that make no difference at all to how it rides. No. But when you look at them and when you know what they are and what they're for, it just adds that bit of, I don't know, a bit of spice, a bit of something special to the bike.
Not particularly great on the figures, though, were they? I wouldn't want to play top trumps. No. That's my card, put it that way.
No, 106 horsepower.
Yeah, that's right. They did 2 race kits. Top race kit was 165 brake horsepower.
Yeah, phenomenal. Then.
Yeah.
One of the mods that you can do to these is people fit the R1 engine into this.
Oh, right.
Which then gives you the special bit of an R7, which is the chassis.
The ultimate package, if you like.
With a reliable horsepower.
Yeah. The power output's not really up there, but everyone who's ridden these bikes, and I haven't ridden one, and I'm looking forward to having a ride on this, is people say they're just incredible handling. This is what the bike's all about.
That's what we're talking about here. Yeah. It's nothing to do with 106 horsepower. It's all to do with the chassis and the details that make it a special bike.
Yes. Well, this particular bike is actually an original 106 horsepower one. So when you're riding, it's all going to be about the handling. So I'll look forward to listening to you after what you think to it to ride.
Hey, I've ridden lots of 100 horsepower bikes that have been a lot of fun.
Exactly. Sometimes you can have too much power.
Anyone who's paying attention will have spotted what's behind me. When this, which is the current Yamaha R7, came out, there was a lot of grizzling from the world at large because this is a tarted up MT-07. It's more than that, but it's based on an MT-07 parallel twin. It's not a super bike in the true sense of the word, and this was a homologation special, and people were questioning the R7 name on that. And if you don't read too much into it, mediocre power, amazing chassis.
Yes.
Mediocre power, amazing chassis. They're not so different. So we'll definitely take both of them out for a ride today. Massive thank you, as you said, to CMC.
Oh yeah, CMC Chesterfield, friends of mine, great guys, and they've lent us this bike to do the testing.
Pinch me. This can't be real. I'm going to ride this thing today. I am so excited. You can try. You should try this new R7 first. I'll look after that one.
Great.
Honestly, I'm going to be reliving all of my boyhood fantasies of being Noriyuki Haga. I'm going to do backing it in and skids and stoppies everywhere.
Oh, not again.
I promise I'll look after it.
Let's go and have some sport. Let's do this.
I've gone quiet again. I'm enjoying myself too much. Oh, that sound, it's the epitome of the full screamer 4-cylinder sports bike. This era was all about big RPM, screaming engines, and it feels so typical of that. And it's got this rigid, squat feel about it. The handlebars are super low and super flat forward. They sort of force you into this really angry, aggressive riding position. And getting over bumps like this, the thing's hopping and bouncing. And everything just feels stiff. It feels like a race bike. They base the geometry, they say, on the YZF-R7 Grand Prix bike. It's got an adjustable head angle. You can adjust the swing arm pivot. It's got this real short, squat, angry feel to it. Oh, it's glorious. And that engine is such a screamer.
So along with these bike specialist videos, we've partnered up with B-Moto for a little bit of useful motorcycle cover for insurance purposes. B-Moto will actually do cover for bikes that are laid up, so if the bike's sawn and stored in a glass case in your living room or whatever, track day policies, multi-bike policies, motocross bike policies, they've got a huge range of different insurance options. And my favourite feature, given how often I change bikes, is that you can change your bike or change the details of your bike mid-term, add a modification, change the address, and they don't sting you with that annoying 40-50 quid mid-term adjustment fee, which I've got a lot of time for that. So well worth a check out if you're getting your insurance sorted sometime soon. That was exquisite. There's no other word to describe it. That is, out of all of the race homologation specials I've been very fortunate to ride recently, that one takes the biscuit. And I think that surprised me. I think it'll surprise a lot of people, because so many people say with the R7, oh, that's a don't meet your heroes bike, because in stock form they're only 106 horsepower and they're not all that, but yeah, not a word of it for me, not a word of it, because this bike was all about the chassis. The chassis, obviously, we got nowhere near the limits of it on the road today, but you can feel it. It is stiff, it is tight, it is a really squat, angry little motorcycle. It feels like a race bike. It feels frightening a little bit. You know, everything's rigid. It doesn't want to dive or pitch when you open the throttle. Nothing moves. It feels like it wants a set of slicks and a hot, dry racetrack, and then it's going to come to life. On the road, it's fun to ride still, but it skips off the bumps. It's rigid. It's hopping around. It feels, when you start thrashing it, it feels like it really makes sense. Until that point, it's kind of hard work in a way. This one in particular, so they come 106 horsepower. I think this one's got the 135 horsepower kit in it because it feels better than that. It feels like it wants to rev and scream. It definitely doesn't have the full killer death 160 odd brake kit in it. But the way the engine makes its power is hilarious. When you get on it and you open the gas, it goes whoa, 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 and you're like, what on earth is this? It's like a old air-cooled two-stroke off the power band. It just doesn't go. It just goes whoa, whoa, whoa. And that happens till about 6,000 RPM. Then it sort of wakes up a bit and starts to snarl a little bit. And then at 8,000 RPM, it goes, and it just disappears off towards the horizon. And not in a way that's anywhere like a 220 horsepower modern superbike, but because there's this long build-up of nothing happening, and then all of a sudden it goes, it feels so exciting, and that makes it feel even more like a proper race bike, because you've got to scream the thing everywhere. Combine that with the fact that first gear is ridiculously tall. If you're on small roads, it feels rubbish. If you get it open, get it onto a fast flowing road, get it rolling, suddenly, all those racing fantasies come out, because screamer of an engine and a really close ratio gearbox. So every time you change gear, instead of like, it goes, like it barely drops revs between gears. So that makes you give it more gears and more gears and more gears. And then you're charging along in this wailing, screaming epitome of 90s superbike. Now, a lot of people have said that the new R7 doesn't really deserve the R7 title, and you could say they're right, because this is a adjustable geometry Öhlins superbike for the road homologation special. This is an exquisite bit of kit, and that's not, that's based on a MT-07 budget naked roadster thing with some parts to make it into a super sports bike. The cost of the upgrade kit, we realised the cost of the upgrade kit to get the full power out of this is $8,000, which is exactly what it costs, give or take, to buy an R7 now. Which is a bit of a mind-blowing thing that, back in 2000 or whatever, it was $8,000 to make this go fast enough, and you could buy a whole R7 for that now. This one is all about the chassis and wringing the neck out of the engine and then using the chassis to maintain the speed and keep the thing going, and puts a massive smile on your face in the process. Honestly, the new R7 does that really well. When we went out this morning and it was a bit cold, just sort of feeling our way into this was quite stressful to ride because you're worried about breaking it and worried about dropping it. On the R7, the minute you got on that, everything's got a bit more compliancy to it and absolutely hammer it from the word go. So in terms of the character of the bike and how much fun they are to ride and ride hard, that totally deserves the R7 moniker. For me, it is a really good fun bike, but the star of the show today is absolutely this thing. A properly special race homologation bike, and I feel very privileged to have had the chance to ride one. That one is going down as one of the all-time greats. What a thing.